Hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. All right. All right. So, let's get started. I guess it's not going to be super long, but there are concepts that I want to go over on this section. So before we start, let me just be clear that please do your homework, okay? I find that some people don't do their homework and they're going to start getting zeros, and they are going to have problems with, well, at this point it's just pass, no pass. So they're going to have problems with passing if you don't do your homework, because that's one of the major things I mentioned, the line of focus in our new grading policy, right? So just make sure that you're able to come through with that, okay? If you have questions, let me know. All right, so start. So today we're gonna focus on, it says circle and regular polygons, but really we're just gonna focus on calculating regular polygon area. Regular polygons, okay? I'm gonna slightly mention all the other ones that we had known before, which is something we already know. Okay. All right. So first off, are we familiar with these formula? Area of a parallelogram is base times height. Area of a triangle, half base times height. Area of a trapezoid, half base 1 plus base 2 times height. Okay. So remember what the word, the letter pi means? It means a ratio, right? It's a ratio of how many diameter you can get per circumference. Basically, you can fit how many diameter you can fit in the circumference, or in other words, how many 2 times radius you can fit, which is about 3.14 something, right? So we know that circumference of circle is pi d or 2 pi r. Are we clear with that? That part should be fairly straightforward, right? So the rest of the area is going to be based on this, okay? The proof for y triangle area is pi r squared, as we know, okay? So let's go down. All right, so we go down here, and we say, okay, the area is equal to sum of area of non-overlapping parts. This should be pretty straightforward. It's basically saying that if I want to find two areas, it's the same thing as calculating them individually and then add them up. Okay, so that means since the circumference is 2 pi r, right? So then that means this portion is 2 pi r, right? So if we cut into different pieces, like equal pieces, and we cut it in half, then we can stagger them and rearrange them like this. Then I will have pi r on top and bottom, okay? And since this is a parallelogram, then area should be relatively approximating this base times this height, right? So keep that in mind. Now, you're like, Mr. Cole, this still does not equate to the actual parallelogram. How come you can say it's a parallelogram? Well, this is because when you are looking at more of these things, then you can, this will be flatter and flatter. And if that's the case, then once it's flatter and flatter, then you are able to treat this as a straight line if you have more and more. Make sense? Alright, so that means in the long run, if you do more and more, you cut in half, then this will be pi r times r. Then, hence, the area of circle will be area equals pi r times r, which is pi r squared, which is the formula we love and know. So far so good? That's just an idea of proof. Okay? All right. So if that's okay, then let's flip to the back page, which is this. So we're going to talk about a specific type of polygon called regular polygon. So there are two aspects of regular polygon. One is called congruent sides, right? The other one is called congruent angles, right? Equal angular and equilateral, right? So when we are trying to calculate area for it, the strategy that we're going to introduce today is we're going to cut all of these into equal parts triangle. Why are they equal parts? Because this is regular, right? So all the sides are the same. And on top of that, there's a special property of regular polygon is that they always inscribe in a circle. Okay, they're always able to do that. In other words, there's always a radius that goes around it to form these side lengths. Now, it's hard to draw a circle after a polygon, but you get the idea, right? They inscribe. So the point is basically I want to calculate an area of a particular triangle first, okay? Once I get that, then I will be able to calculate the area of the whole thing because I just multiply by 5 in this case, okay? So before we continue, once we have a triangle, we need base times height, right? So usually we have some sort of side length, let's just say S, okay? Side length, side length, side length, side length, okay? If that's the case, then I'll get a height, right? I need a height. There's no height here. We call this height a special name called the apothem. The word is spelled over here, apothem. Just specifically for a regular polygon. Okay. All right. So now, to find the individual triangle, it would then be area would be what, 1/2 base times height, so it would be side times apothem, right? Side times apothem. Or if you're given radius instead, if it's radius instead, then you would use the other formula. Remember, you have a formula if you're given side angle side, then it's 1/2 AB sine C. We use that formula. So it'll be 1/2 in this case is R square, right? R times R, right? 1/2 AB, R. Sine C. The C will be the angle in between. Now, how do I find this angle? Well, we always need to find this angle because we need it for various reasons. But to find this angle, you have a lot of triangles, right? How many triangles exactly? In this case will be 5, right? So it would be 360 divided by 5 to get 72 as individual angles. So 72, 72, 72, 72, 72. Right? 72. So in this case, it will be 72 degrees instead. Okay? This is not always the case. Oh, this angle will change if you have different number of sides. Okay? Then area of a whole polygon will then be area equals to, in this case, 1/2 SA, and then you times 5 in this case, or the other one would be area equals 1/2 AB sine C. What the strategy is before we practice? All right, so let's take a look. So over here, they give you a formula called 1/2 AP, where P is the perimeter. How does that make sense? All right, let's take a look at the original problem we had. 1/2 S, why do I multiply by 5? Because what we're calculating is we're calculating one small triangle. But there's 5 of them, right? To make the whole regular triangle. So after you get the triangle area, you gotta times 5 to get the pentagon. Right? Pentagon is made of 5 triangles, and all we've been doing is trying to calculate that individual triangle. Okay, is that a good video? What does r square root mean? It's not r square root, it's r square. So the alternative formula is for a triangle, if you're given like it's r times r, because you have a triangle that looks like yeah, frame is at 200 right now. It's not very good. So yeah, it's definitely not in a good place right now. I think there's no quick solution. Well, I'll try some and see if yeah, video is definitely buffering a little bit. I think it's slowly rising back up. Slowly. I think it's going alive again. Slowly. I think it's alive. It's alive. think it's back, right? Isn't it? I think so. I think the upload speed is back up. Right? Yeah. Looks pretty smooth now. It's over 4,000 again. Alright. So that being said, when we're looking at this formula right here, yeah. So why this perimeter? Because we have to multiply by 5 in the end, right? If you see 5 times s here, that is basically the perimeter, right? So that's why they have this formula. I don't like to necessarily memorize formula. I usually just do the method. Like calculate a triangle and then multiply by however many you have. Okay? So let me demonstrate one problem with you. So sometimes they give you radius, sometimes they give you side length. And these two things are the same way when you calculate, but it's not, how do I put it? It's, there's similar method, but they ask for different things when you're trying to multiply into area. Well, they give you different things to calculate, okay? So, take a look. So if you look at this, they say this is a heptagon. Heptagon is how many sides? Seven, right? So 7, so 2 sides each, like this, right? So to cut individual triangles out, you should get 7 of them, right? Once you get 7 of them, you can figure out the individual angles, okay, basically. So here we go. So let's look at individual. So they give you base. So since they give you base, let's not worry about radius here, okay? You can worry about radius if they give you radius. So right now you need to find the apothem because you want to find the area, right? So if you cut this, right, this will be the apothem. So tell me, what is the angle here? What should be the angle there? Mm-hmm. 51.4. Right? So, or 43, okay? So 51 point, we'll put more in for now. Okay? So that when we calculate it. So I'll put 3 of them, but they're all the same, okay? So when I cut it in half again, well, because why do I cut it in half again? Well, we have 1 here, we have 1 here, but we want to find the apothem, right? So when I cut the triangle, I kind of need this small angle. So you divide that by 2 again, what would you get? Mm-hmm. 25 points. Dude, you use your calculator. Yeah. 25.714, right? So now we need to use a little bit of trig, okay? So I know the opposite. I want the adjacent, so I'm going to use tangent, right? 25.714 is equal to opposite over adjacent. If you forget your trig, this is one thing that you should know moving forward, all right? So it will be equal to 1 over tangent of 25.714. Can someone tell me what that would be? Calculate this. $2.076. Okay, then once you get this, then you would calculate. So each triangle area is 1/2 basis 2, right? The whole thing times height is 2.0765. And whatever you get here, how much do you have to multiply by? How many triangles are there? Seven. So you got to multiply by 7 in the end. So what turns out to be? What? 14.5. Okay. They say nearest tenth, right? Units is in feet square. Okay. That's it. Okay. So that would be how you would approach this problem. Does it make sense to you? So how about you try this instead? This one. And let me take attendance. So if you're here, say you're here. Okay. All right. Looks like people are here. Okay. So, how are we doing on this one? Are we almost done? 'a negative number. Try to check if your calculator is in degree mode with the trig. Sometimes you might get negative because of that. $112? Could be right. Let's check. So you have 12, sorry, not 12, 5 each, right? 5, 5, 5, 5. And then each of them would be giving you a triangle, right? What angle is this? Is 360 divided by 12, right? So it would be 30. So this is 30 degrees. But when you cut in half, it will be 15 degrees, right? 15 each. And then it's 5, right? So it's 2.5 each when you cut. Like that. And you want to find the apothem, right? Same method here. Tangent, right? Tangent 15 degrees is equal to 2.5 over A. So A is 2.5 over tangent 15. Yeah. So, which is what? So this is 9.33, right? So then you multiply it out. So area should be equal to 1/2 base times height. So 5 times 9.33, right? Base is 5, height is 9.33, and you multiply by 12, right? So together should give you wait, how come I got like 279.9? Did I do something wrong? Oh, because the base was 5, right? But to get the apothem, you cut in half. I got 279.9 cm square. check your numbers. Make sure that we have the same. Wait, you round to the nearest 10. Did you check your answers yet? Got it? Any other questions on this type of problem? You're gonna practice with this a lot in your work. All right, so homework. You got, make sure you do this one, okay? I've seen people not doing homework. You are in danger for fail if you don't do your homework, okay? 11.3, this is on bigideas.com again. This is due Sunday, the 3rd, okay? And reminder, you have a test coming up soon, which was wait, in 10 days, right? It's on Friday. Wait, 10 days? Yeah, Friday of next week, chapter 10. Giving you some time to, it's chapter 10 test. Next Friday, chapter 10 test. I'm going to remind you again next week, but you should start studying. Practice homework questions. It's pretty much going to be exactly like homework questions. Okay. Any other questions before we go? Please do your homework, okay? I know most of you do, but people who don't, you have been warned, okay? You don't do your homework and you start stacking those zeros, I can't help you, okay? You're not doing nearly as much work as you used to, right? But still, okay? You gotta keep up. All right. If that's okay, then goodbye. Bye. Bye.
And I see the color I've known all my life. We are timeless. We are timeless.
Timeless.